Good morning, guys. Today we are in Turkey's capital of Ankara, and we are here to see if it is as boring as people say it is, because it might sound bad, but everyone we've ever asked about coming here has said, no, there's nothing to see here. But you know, we want to see Turkey properly. We want to try and cover as much ground as we can, and we've got to go to the capital city. So we will see if it is boring, if there's even anything to do here. Really looking forward to it. So I think the best way to start this video is that, yes, Ankara is the capital of Turkey, not Istanbul. Now, why I find that so funny is that really reminds me of Australia. Everyone thinks Sydney or maybe even Melbourne is the capital of Australia. They're the two biggest cities. However, Canberra is actually the capital of Australia. So there's a little fun fact for you. And that was because Melbourne and Sydney were fighting over it. But we're going to go to a very special place to discuss why Ankara is the capital of Turkey and not Istanbul, like so many people think.
So we've made it here to Anitkabir. We got here about 10 minutes before it opened. It opens at 9 AM and we got here so early because it's going to be about 37 degrees today and it's going to be really hot. So we thought we would do some sightseeing in the morning and then go back to the hotel when it's a bit hotter and we can cool down a bit, and then come out a bit later if it cools down. So we've got a couple days to explore here, but yeah, it's just really hot today.
Just before we head in, why is Ankara the capital of Turkey and not Istanbul? So Ankara is the second biggest city by some distance compared to Istanbul. Istanbul, probably about 3 times the size population wise of Ankara. But the main reason, there's always more to the story though with Turkey, because there's just so much history here. But to keep things nice and short, it is because Istanbul, pretty much all by the sea. So if someone wanted to take the capital and that was Istanbul, they would just need their navy, come in, take the ports, and they'd pretty much be there. Whereas when you've got Ankara, which is in the center of Turkey, they've got to, fly in, they've got to come by land, they've got to, invade, and it's a lot harder to capture something that's in the center of Turkey rather than pretty much essentially say one of the ports or on the coast, which is right by the sea. So I guess that makes sense. I mean, at the end of the day, Istanbul is still, probably the main hub for tourism and transport. Still a very interesting point. Now, we are heading into the Anitkabir, which translates to Mausoleum, and this is where Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, this is his final resting place, and we are so excited to go in because we'll expand on that shortly. This is it. We have just come out of the, I guess, museum, I would call it. It's sort of 2 separate buildings here. And this pretty much had everything to do with Mustafa Kemal Atatürk. And that had his clothes in it. It had everything from his cigar boxes. It was incredible. There must have been at least 20, maybe even 30 massive pieces of art, which were incredible to look at. And just behind me is the mausoleum. Now, you cannot come to Turkey without seeing Atatürk. He is on all the currency here, on the Turkish lira. You can see his portraits of him framed in pretty much any restaurant you're going to. Flags and banners with him draped from buildings. He's pretty much everywhere, and that is because he was essentially the founding father of Turkey. He was the first president of Turkey. He was a field marshal, and that is where we first sort of personally came across Atatürk. All right, sorry, I got to interrupt that quickly before I show you the quote. Changing the guard, so we've just been asked to move on, so this should be pretty interesting to see. All right, just while the rest of the changing the guard goes on, should have some peace and quiet down here to continue this story of Atatürk. Now, as I said, we first came across Mustafa Kemal Atatürk at Gallipoli on Anzac Day, which is a very sacred day for us Australians and New Zealanders. Can't forget the New Zealanders as well. And pretty much we saw one of the most incredible quotes I think we have ever seen, at least in my opinion, and here it is. This quote behind me is probably my favourite quote. Now, just before I read it out to you, Mehmet is pretty much a basic Turkish name, and Johnny's is pretty much a basic British or a Australian name, if you will. A bit like John, Bill, etc., which is what this quote, if that makes sense for this quote. So, those heroes that shed their blood and lost their lives, you are now lying in the soil of a friendly country. Therefore, rest in peace. There is no difference between the Johnnies and the Mehmets to us where they lie side by side. Here in this country of ours, you, the mothers, who sent their sons from faraway countries, wipe away your tears. Your sons are now lying in our bosom and are in peace. After having lost their lives on this land, they have become our sons as well. And that was by Atatürk. Now, after our tour of Gallipoli in April, we then headed back to Istanbul. We came across the Dolmabahce Palace, which we've said in other videos is honestly one of the most incredible buildings we have been to. Now, this was sadly where Mustafa Kemal Atatürk passed away. There's one of the bedrooms that he passed away in. The clock is set to the time of his death, and now we are approaching his mausoleum, which is his final resting place. So that's been our little experience with Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, and this place is honestly just incredible. I mean, it is massive. It overlooks all of Ankara, and yeah, it should be interesting to go in there. So we'll go have a look.
We're just finishing up in the mausoleum. His tomb looks over the whole city, and the building it's in is just incredible. The ceilings are just massive. There's so much detail, and it's got his last quote inscripted in the wall. So it's a really amazing building to see, and just all the detail that goes into the whole building is amazing. So definitely worth checking that out. And now we're off to location number 2.
That was one of the longest, steepest and hottest walks I think of our travels, but we've finally made it to the top, and here is the castle.
So we have made it up here to the Ankara Castle. It was completed within the 8th century BC. They actually don't know the exact date that it was completed. They know a rough date. There is actually about 600 houses that are built within the castle walls. And because the position of this castle is so high up, it is actually being used as a military base camp, a surveillance camp, and it can look over the whole city of Ankara. So it's perfect position up here to be able to view absolutely everything. It was quite a tough walk up here, and online it does say do not come if it's raining because the rocks can be quite slippery. Very hot today. Do not recommend coming up here in 37-degree heat, but yeah, it's definitely worth it when we're up here, and going down will be much easier.
while we're at the top of Ankara, we may as well talk about the first impressions so far. Now, you would think with this being Turkey's second biggest city and also the capital, that a lot of people would speak English here, and that is not the case. So it's sort of their broken English versus my broken Turkish, slowly making things work. We have actually had some people that can speak English to us, and the first day we got here, we came from the train station, which you would have seen in the last video. It was a long, hot walk, and we just couldn't find our hotel. We actually had a waiter run out from his restaurant to come help us. We must have looked really defeated, which was, yeah, that was a really nice first impression to have. We are here for a week, so we've already been here for a few nights. Haven't had any bother at all, very safe. Even back at the mausoleum, the security guard didn't speak much English, but he actually went up to Hannah to show him one of the paintings, one of the portraits of Atatürk, and how it was kind of like the Mona Lisa, where no matter where you were, it always looked like he was looking at you, which was, I put some pictures over the top of that now, but yeah, that was pretty kind. And I did have my first proper conversation with an adult at the hotel. One of the guys that took the bags up to our room, we both said merhaba to each other, nasılsın, ben iyiyim, and yeah, we both said it to each other. That was one of my real highlights, to be honest. So slowly getting there with my Turkish, but overall, this is an incredible view from the top of Turkey's capital. So for the 2 weeks we've been in central Turkey so far, that right there, if you can even see it, is the first cloud we have ever seen in the sky, which is pretty incredible. It shows you how hot and dry it gets here. Man down. Let's go.
Oh, it's hot. And black wasn't a good choice of colour to wear.
Oh, I'm all blacked out.
It's too hot.
The mercury has just gone above 35 degrees for the first time today. It is 36 degrees according to one of the street signs and both of our phones. So we're going to go take some shelter in our hotel room, but just before we do, we're going to get some food, and we'll just show you one of the food streets we like to eat at, because there's pretty much anything you want down here. Good evening, guys. We have made it out. We have saved the best till last, because this is absolutely incredible. Standing at the bottom of it here, the Kocatepe Mosque, which is the biggest mosque in the capital here, and it just looks very impressive. I think you'll agree. One of the really interesting things about this mosque in particular is that we have visited quite a few mosques now, especially after our visit to Konya about a week ago. We've seen mosques that are 1,500 years old, a bit like the Hagia Sophia. We've seen mosques that are 1,000 years old, 800 years old, 500 years old. But this mosque actually took about 20 years to build, and the construction started in the 1960s, and I think it was completed in 1987. So still a very, very new mosque, and we cannot wait to go inside.
So we've just finished up with the mosque right behind me. It was absolutely beautiful in there. When we walked in there, the lights were actually switched off, which gave it a different vibe. The stained glass windows, which were all around, were all lit up because it's lighter out here. It was absolutely beautiful in there. The massive ceilings, you could see the massive lights all hanging, and it would just look so nice with all the lights on as well. This mosque actually can be seen from everywhere in Ankara, so you can't miss it if you come here. Definitely worth coming to check out if you guys are ever here.
Alright, so to end this video off, I think we need to answer the question we posed at the start of the video, which is, should you come to Turkey's capital city? Is it actually as boring as people say? Is there just really not much to do? What do you think, Hannah? Because I'll probably be a bit biased because I love Turkey.
I would say yes, it's worth a visit. It's a bit like Istanbul, but it's a lot different to Istanbul. It's just so much here, so many food shops, so many places to see, like the mosque and where we went all today. I would say yes. A lot of people told us don't bother coming here because it's more business and more city vibes, but I really enjoyed our time here. I thought yes.
Yeah, for me, it's an interesting question because it really, I guess, depends. So you've got us that are like, full-time traveling, love Turkey, trying to learn Turkish, trying to, get away off the tourist path. So I would say it would depend. If you're just coming to Turkey for 10 days, you probably wouldn't come. But yeah, obviously if you want to get away, if you maybe want to practice a bit of your broken Turkish, or it would just depend. Same with Atatürk's mausoleum was very important to us because we hear about him all the time and we see him all the time. So it was just it was good to sort of see his final resting place, which was really incredible. But I guess to a tourist that just might want a picture in front of the Hagia Sophia, or just might want to wander down the Grand Bazaar, or maybe hop on a hot air balloon, then maybe I wouldn't come here. But I think it would just come down to timing. Hopefully that answers that question. It seems like it's a bit undecided, but overall I would come back here, and I think we will come back here. So we are going to finish this video here, and we're actually going to watch the sunset and hopefully see the lights here turn on.
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in our next one.
Thanks, guys. Bye.